Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Trooth. So I'm gonna try out something a little new for this video. I thought I would implement live action footage. Now I've got my camera A and my camera B set up right here. I don't know which one to use. This one's like an auto-focusing webcam, whereas this one's just kind of a regular ass camera. Maybe I'll use them both. Maybe I'll have a cut too. So I said I was all done with anime reviews, but here I am again. I've been spending a lot of time in my anime attic lately, just holed up here with not much to do, so I've been watching some new stuff, exploring some new hobbies, thinking about experimental new video techniques. I thought maybe this would be a fun format to, maybe get videos out a little faster. But, I've been filling my time with a lot of strange anime and with various art projects. I thought I would sit here and work on one of these while I do this video. Maybe my extreme nervousness from doing a live action video for the first time will be muted somewhat if I have something to do with my hands. Anyway, what I watched most recently was The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, or as my roommate likes to call it...
Oh, God of High School.
No, not that one.
Oh, is it okay to hit on God if she's a high schooler?
Yeah, that one. Okay. On the surface it looks like just kind of, slice of life, high school anime. It's, the usual thing about a school club by a small group of outcasts who can barely afford to keep the club running. The school wants to shut them down because there are so few people in it. The main character, Haruhi, has this intense interest in paranormal happenings. She says she's only interested in meeting people if they are time travelers or psychics or aliens or what have you. So she starts a high school club to try and pursue those kinds of mysteries, and without her realizing it, she has filled the club up with members that fulfill all of these groups. Wacky hijinks ensue in their sort of slices of life, and it just so happens that she is kind of the biggest supernatural force of them all, and without even realizing it, she's kind of subtly controlling the universe around her. Oh, look at that, this page actually has some spots on it. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe camera B can see that. But the most interesting thing about the series that I wanted to talk about was something called the Endless Eight. And this is something that's kind of notorious in the anime community. Even people who have never watched this series have kind of a vague familiarity with what the Endless Eight is. It's kind of what got me interested in watching the show, believe it or not. But what the Endless Eight was at a point in the second season of the show, there came a stretch of episodes, and these 8 episodes basically have the exact same events occur over and over, like almost exactly the same way, 8 episodes in a row. They didn't, air the same episode 8 times in a row as I initially thought. And I'm here to kind of play a sort of devil's advocate here, because there's a lot of dispute among fans of this show as to whether the Endless Eight is even worth your time to watch. And honestly, when I was reaching this point in the show, when I was like a few episodes in and asking the anime community at large if I should watch the Endless Eight, it was almost unanimous agreement that you don't need to watch all 8 episodes. Most often people would say watch the first 2 of them and then skip to the 8th one, and you're not missing anything. But I watched all 8 of them in one sitting. I don't know if I recommend that, but honestly, I'm here to kind of recommend that if you are going to watch the series, if this seems like something you're into, watch all of the Endless Eight. I think if you were to set out to do something like this yourself, like if you were to try and make the same piece of art, any piece of art, 8 times in a row, just make the same thing 8 times over and over again, I bet you would be surprised at how that kind of creative constraint would influence you. I think as you go along reiterating the same thing 8 times, you'd probably be surprised to see how much stays the same versus how much changes. But anyway, in what is hopefully the first of many kind of shorter form, live action, off the cuff anime reviews, that's my recommendation for today, is to give this supernatural mystery slice of life anime a chance, specifically because it had such a weird creative decision in it. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about next. I feel like I should have kind of a special outro for this video, but I don't really have like a trademark or anything like that, so... Hey folks, it's me. It's Trooth. I'm here. I'm trying out something a little new with this video. I thought I would try like a live action format while I work on some arts and crafts and talk about some anime. I feel like most people doing something like this would put some towels down or, you know, have some paper towels at the ready, but I guess I'm not most people. I really need just enough to coat my brush. Don't need to go crazy. Boy, I won't get to do this with proper calligraphy posture at all. I am pretty new to calligraphy, and even Japanese in general, so mistakes are to be expected. I'm trying to not show everybody my butt here while I'm doing this too. Of course, that'll probably get cut out because I'm trying to cut out my camera B in the shot here. So anyway, to get on topic, the reason I wanted to make this video was I wanted to recommend this series, Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. But more specifically, I wanted to recommend it because of a series of episodes within this series called The Endless Eight. And this is something that's kind of notorious in the anime community. It's basically a series of 8 episodes where the same things happen in every single episode, repeated 8 times. But before you get started on this series, and before you say, okay, I'm getting right into this Endless Eight, I'm gonna make it happen, there's some things you need to know about the series. You don't just jump right in and watch it, because there is this dispute about the proper viewing order of the episodes. Because when the series aired on TV, it was all out of order. The episodes were in a really strange configuration. And it's further exacerbated by the fact that there are 2 seasons of this show. So, I always kind of wondered, did they release the episodes out of order on purpose? Was it an artistic decision? Or was there just some kind of miscommunication with the network, and they just happened to air all of the episodes they were given in the wrong order, kind of like a Firefly scenario? So the kind of problem that arises with this show is that there were 2 seasons, and if you were to watch the show in chronological order, you are watching some of the Season 2 episodes in what would ordinarily be your Season 1. So I think, for that reason, we can write off the explanation of this was all just a mistake on the network's part. Why does Melancholy have to be written with, like, the most complicated kanji in the world? Anyway, a lot of people online say that it adds to the experience if you watch the episodes in the original airing order. And I don't know if I agree with that. Again, I watched them in chronological order, for the most part. Somebody told me when I presented them with the kind of chronological watch order, they kind of said, oh, but you need to swap these 2 episodes. Watch those 2 in this particular order. And other than that, yeah, you're good. So I swapped a couple of episodes around, and that turned out to be bad advice, because some things happened that I had no frame of reference for. Basically, there was suddenly a talking cat in the show, and I was like, Nani? I'm not familiar with the novel or novels of Suzumiya here, but it doesn't seem like the release order of the episodes is the intended order. I say that because, having watched it in chronological order, there were no recaps, you know? There were no unnecessary flashbacks, which I feel like would occur if the show had been planned to always be in the order that it aired. I feel like that was maybe a last-minute creative decision by somebody. I can't help but be reminded of Hirohiko Araki's advice to don't just look through a kanji dictionary and pick a really big word and make that your title, thinking people will assume you are smarter for it. I would have sworn up and down that that's what they did with this one, but apparently this 29-stroke behemoth is taught in Japanese junior high. What do you know? I butchered that one. I'm pretty positive. So I guess that concludes this art project, and that concludes my short anime recommendation of the day. Stay tuned for more. I plan to do a bunch more of these. Maybe put different kinds of spins on the videos. I don't know. I want to do more of these kind of like short format recommendations. Things that don't take quite so much effort, you know? So, I feel like there's some kind of outro I should do, but all I can say is I really need to get my brush cleaned here before it dries and gets nasty. So I'll catch you next time. There's a nail sticking out on one side, and there's a, like, curtain clip on the other side. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna redo this. It's actually quite bad. This is totally gonna fall down. Welcome to my waifu workshop. Today, we're gonna talk about this waifu right here. This would be, as you can surely read, this would be Haruhi Suzumiya of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. And this is a waifu workshop because she kind of needs some work. It's hard to believe they built a whole series around kind of a miserable character. I say miserable not because she herself is miserable, but because watching her is kind of miserable. Now, I know I'm starting out this review, and this is kind of a different review than I usually do. I don't usually do these, like, live-action segments. But, you know, I know I'm starting this out on kind of a negative note, saying that this is a shitty person right here. But in spite of that, I would still recommend the series that she appears in. You know, a thing that caught my eye when I was getting into this series was that it has this stretch of episodes called The Endless Eight, where the same events occur 8 episodes in a row. It's just a shame that they had to all revolve around such an awful person. So we're gonna workshop her in the waifu workshop here. So the thing about Haruhi here... Hold on, let me get my pointing stick so I can accusingly point at her. Is pretty much an all-around terrible human being. She basically has, like, no consideration for anybody around her. She just kind of orders people around and forces them to fulfill her every whim. And I feel like all of the people around her just kind of go along with it because it's more trouble to tell her no. I've got to say, I really don't see the appeal of her. I don't know how well you can see it in this particular artwork. Hold on, I might have to stand briefly. But she's always got these angry eyebrows right here. She kind of perpetually has those through almost every appearance she makes. The only exception really being when she's getting her way. She's almost never smiling. Like, this is really uncharacteristic of her. I don't know why I picked this image to blow up and hang on the wall. I feel like the series wants to paint her as desirable, which is weird to me, because they don't really give her any desirable traits. It's just, you know, the second season opening makes a point to, you know, have these close-up shots of her butt, and like various other points in the series have these convenient butt shots and things like that, you know, in anime is usually code for like, oh yeah, this is the hot character. This is a desirable character. But I don't know what somebody is supposed to find appealing about Haruhi. I try to find just a single trait to find appealing about this character. And let me think. You could say she's strong-willed. Sure. But she is strong-willed in her pursuit of just being shitty to other people. So an example of Haruhi's strong-willedness. She wants a computer for the club room in the club that she has founded in her school. So how does she exert her strong will to get a computer? Obviously, she goes to the computer club and blackmails them with fabricated blackmail into giving her a computer. This was a pretty early scene that made her just not sit right with me, because these people in the computer club are perfectly innocent. And none of them did anything to wrong her or wrong anybody that we have seen. A really quick way to make this scene work a lot better would be if there's an earlier scene of the computer club members like bullying her or bullying somebody or just doing anything other than just minding their own business being computer enthusiasts. I feel like any possible allure of this character kind of got stripped away with the whole filmmaking arc, because it kind of proved that she didn't really have an eccentric creative mind in the end of everything. She didn't create a film that was groundbreaking or anything never before seen, and in fact just kind of tried to imitate what she thought was popular. And maybe that's a little bit of character insight. I mean, I know canonically in this series, she is effectively like a god who kind of unknowingly molds the world around her own desires. But maybe the world she lives in is so ordinary because she, at her core, is a pretty ordinary person. Alright, so my plan tonight is to review a little anime, and the anime of the night is going to be The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. I had kind of planned to make a review of this, have some live action footage in it, and tell you why you should watch it, but I thought, why not let the internet speak for itself on this one? Why don't I just aggregate a bunch of the internet's reviews of this series and let you know what it's all about, really. In case you didn't know, but chances are you probably do if you're reading this, the last couple of episodes of this second season, covered the story arc where the gang becomes caught in an endless time loop. The last couple episodes? It's literally called the Endless 8, and they don't come at the end of the season either. It said story arc involves showing the same episode over and over and over and over, etc. for God knows how many times. Yet to come as of this okay. Yet to come as of this writing. So this person didn't watch them all. Really, I guess they didn't watch even the 2 episodes where The title of the episode was Endless 8 Part 1 and Endless 8 Part 2. How unfortunate. God knows how many times. Watch the first episode of the season, then the second, then skip half the season and pick up where Endless 8... Bruh. You just called it Endless 8. How many do you think there are? I guess God knows how many. First episode of Endless 8 was good. Second was okay and introduced the time loop. Third was basically a repeat of 2 with a few changes in dialogue and clothing. Disappointed at KyoAni. Fourth as above, starting to annoy me. Fifth, also as above, and gives conclusive evidence that KyoAni is trolling. So many people decided to rate a 1 out of 10 without, waiting to see where shit went. As of writing this review, we are currently stuck in a seemingly infinite loop of Endless 8. Not only is this incredibly boring to watch, and a complete waste of time, but it shows Kyoto Animation's poor professionalism and their childish, trolling nature. KyoAni has apparently reached the point where they realized people love the show so much they'll sit through anything if it has Haruhi in it, and so decided to play a cruel joke on us by forcing us to watch the same episode over and over again. I call this trolling, and on God level. And look at how, silly people are about this. 3 episodes would have been more than enough for this story arc, but KyoAni decided 6 more. Wait. Three episodes would have been more than enough for this story arc, but KyoAni decided 6 was more appropriate? Yes. That famous stretch of episodes called the Endless 6. The first 2 episodes started out fine, bringing us back into Haruhi's world and linking back to previous episodes, but when we got to the Endless 8 arc, of which I'm dreading might actually be 8 episodes, with fingers crossed for episode 6 to be the last one. Alright, now here's the kind of review I can get behind. I just finished it, it was good up until the 8 arc, but after that it was fine. All in all, I enjoyed it. Cool. I mean, yeah. Now we can both get on with our lives. Ha 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 ha. All the scores are 8! Get it? I bet I'm the first to make this joke, ha ha! Now, I'm questioning myself why in the fuck I would watch 8 episodes of the same shit happening over and over again. That's why I didn't. I respect Endless 8. It really makes you feel what Yuki feels, so I can respect it for that, but fucking hell, this is a bit too much. You only have to live through it 8 times. She had to live through it 15,000. Maybe you need to watch these episodes 14,992 more times. Anyways, it's a necessary evil, I suppose. I respect the balls and the effort put into it, but at the same time I think it's a bit unnecessary and just questionable. Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is based on somewhat pat formula by now of Japanese school drama anime. 1. The main protagonist comes from a world outside the normal society and has superpowers. 2. There's a very beautiful and sexy girl in a supporting role. They're all in high school, guy. 3. A normal character is in there who shares the main role in the story. I guess. 4. Unusual things happens in unusual social settings. 5. Sometimes the story is about the main protagonist and the normal character that connects to the existence or destruction of the world. 6. Absolutely no effort is spent by anyone to gain all the magical powers! They just have it! They just have all the magical powers! Usually, people outside of this tight-knit group is not aware of their superpowers and goes on with their daily lives. We've completely deconstructed all anime. So, I don't know. I can see where people were coming from, being so mad about the Endless 8 kicking off. If I was looking forward to a new season of a show, and they just did 8 episodes of the same stuff reanimated 8 times in a row, I probably would have been pretty upset. But I mean, I feel like I was kind of like the perfect storm to watch the Endless 8, because for one thing, I was not head over heels crazy about the first season or anything. And I knew about the Endless Eight before I even started Season 1. And it was, you know, kind of a gimmick that actually drew me to the show. I kind of think this is, like, a fun idea for, like, a review show premise, just kind of reviewing the reviews. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll do more of these in the future, just, like, stay tuned. I feel like there's something more I should say at the end, but whatever it might be, I can't think of it, so I'll catch you next time, whenever that may be. So I'm going to try something a little new for this video, a little live action element in this anime review I'd like to do. I'd like to talk to you today about the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, as you can see is clearly written right there. I'd basically like to recommend this series as a whole. Particularly, I want to make the unconventional recommendation that you watch the whole Endless Eight in this series. But in addition to that, you know, watch the rest of the series and make sure you watch the movie afterwards. I feel like not a lot of talk gets dedicated to anime movies based on pre-existing series, but this one was probably better than the whole rest of the series combined. And if we're going to really talk at any length about this movie, we're going to have to talk about the best girl. Oh, definitely not this one. No. I'm sorry, no, not that. Ah, there, that's much better. Anyway, here's the real best girl of the series, and it didn't really take me until the movie to appreciate it. She's really probably the most tragic character in the series, and I'm just kind of a magnet to tragic characters like that. Now, there might be some spoilers for the movie in here, so a fair warning on that. But basically, you find out pretty early in the series she's an alien, or she's some kind of outer space AI in a human body or something like that, sent to monitor the trash waifu that I just covered up on the wall here, because old trash waifu is basically the god of this universe, the unwitting god. She doesn't really realize it. And so Yuki here is probably the most powerful character in the series, aside from the one who is, like, literally God. I tell you, man, get you a girl who will literally restructure the universe so that your biggest nuisance in life is no longer part of your life, and also you have a super sweet, bookish waifu who loves you in that universe. So it's a kind of tragic thing that happens to her in this series and movie. I mean, the first tragedy is she lived through the Endless Eight, and that was a point in the second series. This sequence of 8 episodes where all of the main characters were living the same events 8 episodes in a row. Of course, for them, it was more like 15,000 plus times in a row, just that they didn't retain any memory of it through each of those 15,000 loops. For them, they were just living the same day for the first time. Except for this one. She had to remember all 15,000 loops. And after all this time, you know, her kind of AI programming observes the main male character, Kion, and how he pretty much hates Haruhi. She is kind of a blight on his life, and I would say the same thing if I were in his shoes. She does literally nothing positive for him ever. And all through the series, I could not fathom why he went along with her. There was never even any moment of, like, secret crush or anything like that. There was never any moment where he's like, oh, but she does have this one redeeming quality. Because she doesn't. Yuki saw this happening, and her AI said, well, let's just correct this situation. And just, you know, literally creates a new universe where Haruhi and Kion never met. You know, she didn't kill anybody or hurt anybody. Just kind of made a new universe where people were happier. But Kion, for no discernible reason, rejects this universe. I mean, I guess he does not see that this is best a girl right here. Not even when she is, like, fully, blatantly in love with him in the new universe. And, you know, isn't an alien AI, and actually has human emotions. If I were to kind of analyze Keone, I would say he prefers the devil he knows to the devil he doesn't, you know? Like, he knows he has a shitty life with this shitty person, but making the leap into a new universe where things are different and they don't suck is just too much for him to process. There's a very credible fan theory. I say it's very credible because I just thought of it myself. I might not be the first person to think of it, but the fact that I thought it up makes me think it's very credible. The theory that Keone is just another sort of creation of Haruhi's mind. It makes sense because it's kind of implied in the series, if not explicitly stated, that Yuki and Asahina and Koizumi all congregate around Haruhi because she wants a life where she is close to aliens and time travelers and espers. So, I think it's very plausible that Keone only sticks with her because that is the will of her universe, and that overpowers the universe that this one created. It seems that what she really wanted were 4 things: alien, time traveler, esper, and punching bag. Personal slave, I don't know. But, you know, this series is definitely one case where I highly recommend watching the movie once you're done with the series. It's a pretty good conclusion, but it also adds just so much more depth to a character who I would say was underutilized in the main series itself. If I were to watch the series again, and maybe I will someday in the future, it would be a lot of fun to rewatch kind of how her character developed over time. Because there were like small little developments just kind of sprinkled throughout there. Just little changes to her that kind of culminated in the events of the movie and really resulted in this enormous, I wouldn't say catastrophe, kind of like a cataclysm, I guess, because it's about remaking the universe. Anyway, I feel like there should be some kind of special sign-off to this video, but I don't know. I guess just stay tuned and see whatever I'm reviewing next, because I want this to be the first of many. Hopefully it's going to be. Anyway, I guess I will see you whenever that is. Alright, what's up my fellow anime trash? It's your boy Anime Mega Milkers 69.org/420. That is my full username in the house. About to review some anime with you, the only way that matters. We're making a tier list. So here's what we got going on. I'm gonna take an anime that I watched recently and just, you know, rate the waifus of it. And this is really, you know, the best way to delve into the intricacies of this series. Of really any series. So here's our main character. Where do you think she falls? Well, she's, probably around here, honestly. She's a pretty shitty person. Name one redeeming quality of her. She's an asshole. She extorts people. She blackmails people, for crimes they really didn't commit. And doesn't do a single good thing for any living being in her entire life. Yep, here we go. Now we're talking. Right here. Boom. Yep. If you have trash taste, you can get out right now, because this is gonna set the tone for the whole rest of the video. She's like a hyper-intelligent AI from outer space. Pro gamer. It's really like all you can ask for, so I think I feel very confident in my S tier placing right there. Next we need Asahina. Asahina, okay. So I mean, she I know she might have huge potential to be a, like, quality waifu, but the thing that really drags her down is her lack of confidence. Is a complete doormat and is, like, very, like, spiritually weak. A very low power level. Like, okay, she can be about a B, I think. Who else is there? There's this girl, she's not really in the show that much. She was in, like, all of the, like, openings and stuff. Like, she was gonna be, like, a pretty prominent character. She does, like, spike Asahina's drink in the hope that she will, like, get taken advantage of, which is pretty shitty. She also looks like a child, which is, like, definitely some negative points. I want to put her, like, down here. You know, there's not really that many waifus in this series now that I'm looking at my tier list. So, Kion, honestly, he's really shitty too. Honestly, like, he and she are kind of perfect for each other just because he is, like, such a shitty human being. The only thing that kind of gives him an edge over her is that he will actually, like, call her out on her bullshit once or twice, and tell her when she's doing something, like, extremely immoral. But other than that, he's just, like, kind of a doormat, and, like, doesn't really take a lot of decisive action about most things. Put him, like, right here, I guess. Just because he might be complicit in a lot of stupid shit, but he doesn't, like, go out of his way to actively harm people. Koizumi, pretty similar to Kion in personality, just, like, a little more positive, I think. But he also just kind of goes along with everything Haruhi wants. He might honestly be a little worse than Kion because he was actually going to, like, take unfair advantage of a heavily slizzard Asahina on camera for a movie. So, putting him, like, down here. Only reason he's above her is because he actually has, like, somewhat of a moral compass in, like, not wanting the world to be destroyed. Shit, that's still not that many waifus, is it? Which season had the best end credits? So part 1, or season 1, had pretty good end credits. It had that, you know, that whole, like, iconic dance. Oh, shit. Why did a calculator pop up on my screen? I was trying to do that slide thing, you know. And why is it, like, partially transparent now? Oh god. Yeah, so this one's a really good ending sequence. I'm not, like, super crazy about the song. I don't know. It's not that much for me. But it's a cool sequence. I'm gonna put it, like, right here. Now, ending number 2, the season 2 ending, I absolutely love. Just, like, that whole sequence of, like, the characters' faces, like, flashing in slow motion across, like, buildings and stuff. Combined with the music was, like, really good. Just, like, that stuck in my memory more than, like, even more than the dance from season 1, honestly. Like, that was something, like, just really incredible. I loved, like, the strobing lights and everything. It was just, like, excellent. That one's an S tier. Guess we gotta do the opening sequences too, so, like, the opening for season 1. Yeah, this one. I mean, obviously. It was an okay opening. It was whatever. And the season 2 opening, had a pretty good song in it. I felt like the actual animation of it was less memorable than most of the other sequences. But I like the song for sure. That's enough to get it to, like, a B tier for me. You know, I guess we should talk about the movie too, right? I really liked the movie. Probably more than, like, most of the episodes of the main series, season 1 and 2 combined. The movie was very good. If you're going to be watching this series at all, like, definitely watch the movie. Well, now that I think about it, if we are gonna be talking about the movie and recommending the movie, we also gotta talk about the Endless 8 and whether you should watch that. I mean, I would say the movie has more impact if you do. I would definitely recommend it. I know most people are just gonna say, like, you know, watch like 2 or 3 of them, and then you get the whole picture. Like, you get it, but I feel like really sitting there, like, through every episode really, like, makes later events have more of an impact on you. So I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna put it, like, you know, as necessary as the movie, probably. At least as far as my experience goes. I feel like I would not have gotten nearly as much out of the movie if it had not been for the Endless Eight. And a big part of that ties into Yuki's character. She's really, like, she's not, like, front and center of the Endless Eight. I mean, she's in it, but she's really a lot more, like, front and center in the movie. She has, like, a much bigger role in that, and it's kind of, like, tinged by the Endless Eight, so you kind of need to watch that. Anyway, that's probably about it. I think I got this tier list pretty well figured out. I think I've really broken this show down into, like, everything good and bad about it. I feel like I should say something that's kind of like a special sign-off or something, but I don't know, nothing is really coming to mind. Anyway, maybe I'll do some more of these tier lists in the future. I definitely hope to. But anyway, that's it. I'll catch you next time. Well, hello everyone. I'm trying out something a little different with this video. I'm trying to implement a little live action footage as I talk to you about an anime that I watched recently. It's this one right here. This, as you can read, the title is right here, and it clearly says, it clearly reads, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. I know I said I was getting away from anime reviews, but here we are. I wanted to talk about this one, and specifically I wanted to talk about a stretch of episodes in this one known as the Endless Eight, which occurs in the second season of the show. It's a series of episodes where basically the same things happen to the characters 8 episodes in a row. And to be clear, it's not a rerun of the same 8 episodes over and over. There's a big dispute among the fan base as to whether you should watch all 8 of these episodes, and I'm here to basically say I think you should. A big reason for that being that this was kind of an artistic decision that somebody on the show made. I watched all 8 of them in one sitting, you should know, and it was basically an experience like no other. When you sit and watch these 8 episodes in a row, it can get you into a weird state of mind, kind of a weird mood. It becomes kind of like a horror setting. By the 4th or 5th episode, you're kind of just going through the motions, and just kind of being like, yeah, I've seen this all before. But once you're kind of transitioning into episodes 6 and 7 of the Endless Eight, that's when kind of the horror of it starts to set in. And I use the word horror maybe a little liberally in this situation. It's obviously not a blood and guts, skeletons jumping out at you, that kind of horror. It's a subtle kind of horror. It's a horror like a room that's a little asymmetrical, or like a camera that's a little off-center, or like the lights suddenly going out, and the room suddenly turning red. It's that kind of horror. But the interesting thing about these episodes, and I don't want to spoil too much, is that the Endless Eight is something that's happening canonically in the show. The characters themselves are experiencing these events over and over again, just like we, the viewer, are. And so the main characters are kind of a special group of people who are able to detect that time is kind of repeating itself within these episodes. And although it is only a stretch of 8 episodes, within the show's universe, they are going through about, 15,000 or so repetitions of the same day. And just that little touch of horror comes in, just kind of sprinkled throughout these 8 episodes. You can't really point to just one or two of the Endless Eight and say, okay, these give you everything you need to know about the episodes. Because there are just little moments of realization that really make it for me, that really bring the experience together. Just these moments like when the main character is at the pool with everybody and he's looking over at Yuki, one of the other characters, and just realizing, this looks really familiar. I feel like I've been here before. I feel like this sense of deja vu. And it becomes even more kind of critical, kind of even more nerve-wracking when the moment occurs that our main character, Kion, comes to this realization that there must be some action he can take that causes the repetitions to stop. But he just can't quite grasp what it is. And if you have about, 3 or 4 hours to sit and burn and watch all 8 of these episodes, you really get immersed in that feeling of there's something missing. There's something that can be done that isn't being done, and just kind of wondering what it is. These characters have gone through the experience 15,000 times, but they have not retained any memories of any loops except for the one they're currently living. Well, Yuki has retained her memories, but she's kind of a special case. I almost wish it wasn't called the Endless Eight, specifically, because then there would be this feeling that you don't know when it's going to end, that it might just keep on looping forever and ever. I don't want to spoil how the Endless Eight ends, but for me at least, it was a satisfying experience. I will say at least that kind of the key to stopping the Endless Eight from happening is something that is kind of in your face the whole time that it's happening. And personally, I felt a little dumb for not realizing what it was from the beginning. But for me, I guess that made it even more enjoyable, that I couldn't see it coming. I know that most people are not going to agree with me on this one. Maybe I'm playing a bit of a devil's advocate here, but I encourage you to give the Endless Eight a try. This stretch of 8 episodes is, about the length of some movies. Probably a bit longer than your average movie, but for me it is something that makes for good viewing in a single sitting. I can definitely see where people are coming from if they say it's boring or pointless or whatever, but it is a unique experience. And for me, that's the number one thing that I look for in a new TV show or movie or really any piece of media that I consume. I want it to be something that I've never seen before. I want it to be something very unique. And for better or for worse, I guess, that's what you've got here. It is an experience like nothing else. And if that's what you're looking for, I encourage you to give it a try. And that's about it for me. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. I feel like I should leave this with, some kind of a better conclusion, but I guess that's it. Give it a try, and maybe I'll catch you in a future video with some other recommendations. Well, here I am again. I thought I'd try something a little different with this video. Thought I might implement a little live-action footage in my review. Thought I would talk to you today about this series called The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. I feel like maybe I've talked about this one before in some past video. I don't know, maybe not, but it feels like I have. Basically, this is a series that caught my eye, in large part due to a gimmick that it has. In the second season, there exists a period where the same events occur 8 episodes in a row. And there's a lot of debate among the fanbase as to whether or not you should even watch that sequence of episodes, or if you should just watch the first couple and then skip to the end of it. Personally, I watched all 8 of them in one sitting, which is an odd experience for sure, but it's one that, weirdly, I recommend. Basically, for me, novelty is king in pretty much any TV show or movie or anything that I'm thinking about consuming. If a movie or an anime or whatever can show me something I've never seen before, then it usually gets a pass in my book. I mean, the fact is, it wasn't just the same episode 8 times in a row, it was the whole thing reanimated, remade from scratch every time. And to me, that's why it was so fascinating. But people will say, did the Endless 8 need to exist? I mean, certainly it didn't need to exist. I mean, no piece of art needs to exist, really. But it does. I mean, sure, it could have been 2 episodes long. It could have been 3 episodes long. It could have been 5 episodes. It could have been 12. It could have been an entire season or an entire series. But I mean, the fact is, somebody made this. Somebody made it 8 episodes long, and I guess just to give the artists the benefit of the doubt, I thought I should watch all 8 of them. For me and my personal experiences, it was something fresh. And in a sense, that's all I'm really looking for. That's why I'm so into horror movies, because you always see such creative, strange ideas in those. That's honestly why I watch most animes, because it tends to be about weird things that I never see in American shows. Anyway, that's probably it for this video. I just kind of wanted to take a few minutes, make a quick recommendation, and just kind of let you know what I thought. I don't know, I feel like there should be some better way I can conclude this, but stay tuned for next time? Oh wait, I know how I'm supposed to sign this off. Make sure you like this video if you liked it, or dislike it if you disliked it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and do the bell thing so you get the notifications. Leave a comment letting me know what you thought about this video, or what you thought about the series in general, or what you think about the Endless 8, or if you're planning to watch it, or if you're now never gonna watch it. So make sure you subscribe and watch my other videos, and subscribe to me on Twitch, and watch my streams of video games, and stay tuned for more reviews in the future. And thanks for watching.